Hey YouTube, FS Physicus here. Well, Old Man Winter still has a grip on upstate New York, so we're inside today with an accessories video for you. We're looking at VZ grips for the 1911 and how to install them. You should know from watching my previous videos that I have two 1911s. I have the Remington R1 Enhanced in stainless and the Ruger SR1911CMD, the commander-sized version of the Ruger SR1911. Both 1911s are nice-looking firearms by themselves. The Remington has aggressive, dark-colored grips, while the Ruger has some blued accent pieces and a less aggressive double diamond wood grip with the Ruger medallion embedded in them. However, once I had both of these 1911s in my collection, I really wanted a more unified look, something that said, these are my 1911s. Since both guns are stainless, I figured that installing the same grips and same grip screws on both guns would achieve that goal. Now, there are many makers of 1911 grips in many materials, wood, plastic, G10, even metal, and a quick search led me to the VZ Grips website. That's vzgrips.com. Right now, G10 is a very popular material for gun grips, and since VZ offers grips made in G10, I decided to take a closer look at their grips. There are many patterns and colors available from VZ, but there's nowhere near where I live to try before you buy. VZ grips aren't exactly cheap, so I played it safe and stayed with a pretty plain grip. Let me show you what I chose. Okay, this is the VZ Grips Aliens grip in their color Army Green, in other words olive drab. I also bought two sets of these turbo black wash screws. The screw sets come in either blackout or black wash finish. Blackout means that the entire screw is completely blued and there's no shiny metal. Black wash is where the screw is blued, but the raised portions are buffed or polished to reveal the metal. Taking a closer look at the grip, one of my concerns was that the long grooves that run from the top to the bottom of the grip look to be very deep. And I was concerned there might not be much material to the grip and that the cross-section of the grip might be rather thin. However, as you can see here, the grooves are not all that deep, and the cross-section is thick enough to provide a good grip. I wanted to show you guys a good end view showing the cross-section because that's something that VZ really doesn't have any pictures of, from this angle. I won't bore you with my ordeal of choosing the color. Let's just say I almost drove my wife nuts and spent hours photoshopping pictures of my guns with the various VZ grips on them. Well, let's go ahead and get these grips installed. First thing we'll do is safety check the guns. Let's check the R1. There's no magazine in the R1. And, okay, nothing in the chamber. It's safe. Go ahead and snap the trigger. Same for the Ruger. Ruger has no magazine in it. Look at that slide locked back there. I'll tell you, the shorter slide seems to be a lot harder to rack. Okay, so there you go. Nothing in the chamber. We'll go ahead and snap that trigger. Okay, we'll begin by removing the grips. On the R1, we have standard screws, or flathead screws. This screwdriver is actually a bit small, but it'll do. When you do this, you may want to wrap a small bit of masking tape around the end of the screwdriver just in case it slips so that it doesn't scratch anything. Okay. R1 is done. And now we'll go ahead and deal with the Ruger, the SR1911 CMD. Now that uses, okay, if you can see, that uses hex head screws. These are 3/32 of an inch. So go ahead and remove those. These on wrench rasky. Okay, Ruger's done. And just a reminder, you know, if you have any trouble getting the grips off, with the magazine on the gun, you can always stick a finger in there and poke it out. Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk to you about is about some of the options you have when you're choosing your grips. In addition to the pattern and the color, there's a whole bunch of other options. First thing you'll need to pick is the frame size, whether it's standard or compact. Now, these, the R1 and the Ruger, the R1 and the Ruger, are both standard full-size frames. Okay, compact is the other option. That's for like the mini 1911s with a shorter grip. That's not the same as the difference between a commander size and a full-size 1911, because that has to do with the barrel length. Then you need to choose the thickness. Now the thickness, these are standard thickness, as are these from Ruger, and these grips from Remington. Now VZ grips are available in a slim line, a narrower grip that might fit you better. If you want the thinner grips, just remember that because the grip is thinner, your bushings are going to have to be replaced with ones that are shorter or thinner, however you look at it. And that's okay because VZ sells those bushings. The next choice is called profile, and it has to do with the shape of the grip down here at the bottom and the back corner. Okay, the grips that I chose are standard. They have a flat bottom and they have a cutout for the mainspring housing pin. The next choice that you could have would be beveled, which is just like standard, except that the bottom edge is beveled. And these Ruger grips from the factory actually have a beveled bottom. Okay, the next choice you might have would be called a rounded bottom. Now, let's see if this shows up well. I don't have an example of that, but right over here, this one is rounded bottom. See how the back of the grip is rounded, okay? That's for certain specific types of 1911s that have been manufactured. And I think they're mostly Kimbers, but I'm not 100% sure on that. The other choice you might have is what's called magwell. If you have a magwell extension on your 1911, that's held in here at the mainspring housing pin. So the grip will come back all the way to a point at the bottom. Let me just show you this. So instead of sitting here and having this cut out to get at the pin, you'll actually come all the way down to the point and cover that, okay, because you've attached a magwell to it. And then the final option on profile, again, I'm going to go to the website, is called bobtail, and that's where it looks like the bottom is beveled and then it's cut back at an angle. And again, that's to fit specific manufacturers' guns. After profile, you get to choose about the mag release. Now the mag release options are all so that you can reach your mag release easier. For me, I'm left-handed, so the mag release is on the wrong side. So on my grips, I didn't choose anything. As you can see, this would be the grip that goes here. I didn't choose anything, any kind of cutout for the mag release. All right. Now, the Remington grips have the equivalent of what's called a thumb notch. So if you're right-handed and you're holding onto that grip, it puts your thumb nicely aligned to hit the mag release. VZ grips has the thumb notch, and they also have something here they call the super scoop. And this is a much wider, much deeper cutout. I mean, it almost reaches around to the back of the grip, from the front to the back of the grip. And it's a much deeper. Apparently, it's very popular. Obviously, like I said, it doesn't do a whole lot of good for me, but it's a very popular for right-handed shooters. And then the last option that we have is the ambi safety cut. Now what that means is if you put an ambidextrous safety on the gun, it'll be, it'll be on this side just like there's one over here. And in order for the grip to fit correctly, there has to be a cutout to go around where the grip is. Now, being left-handed, I may someday want to put in an ambidextrous safety on these guns, so I did get the standard ambidextrous cut out. Okay, there are two other options. One is Rock Island for 1911s, manufactured by Rock Island, and then the other one is STI and Torx. And I thought it was interesting because you'll see the Ruger grip from the factory has no ambidextrous cutout, and the Remington grip from the factory does have a cutout. It's a different shape than the cutout that VZ provides. So interesting to see. Okay, well, now that we've covered the options, why don't we go ahead and get the grips on. Okay, the turbo blackwash screws take a Torx. Let's see if we can get up close there. Okay, the turbo blackwash screws take a Torx driver. It's the T15 size. If you don't have one of those, you can get that as well from VZ Grips. So let's just go ahead and start. We'll do the Ruger first. Okay, so the Ruger SR1911CMD is done. Let's move on to the Remington R1. The only thing I would advise is just be careful when you start the screws. The threads are kind of fine, you don't want to cross thread it. That's one side of the R1 done. I don't know if there's any kind of torque specification on grip screws. I'm just snugging them down till they feel tight. I'm not, wrenching them down, going all gorilla or ape on them and trying to tighten them down or anything. Okay, well, there you have it. Okay, we've installed the VZ grips, Aliens Green G10 grips on the Ruger SR1911CMD, as well as the Remington R1 Enhanced stainless. And both these guns now, look like they belong together. The look is a lot more uniform, as opposed to the original grips that were on each gun. I'm really pleased with the way they look. The grip feels really good. It's VZ says this is actually a moderate grip. This is not even an aggressive or a very aggressive grip. I think that the olive drab color works for me. I'm a fan of olive drabs, and I like the way the turbo blackwash screws look in there. Let's see if we can get a kind of a close up. So you can get a good look at that on the Ruger. All in all, I think this is a big success. The gun feels really good in your hand. The grip is grippy, but not overly aggressive. It doesn't hurt your hand. So I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it informative. I certainly encourage you to check out VZ Grips if you have a 1911. And just as a disclaimer, I am not associated with VZ Grips in any way. I'm just a satisfied customer. If you think about it, putting custom grips on a 1911 is a lot like a car guy putting new rims on his car. It makes it your gun, and it's an expression of your individual taste. Just don't let me see you putting any spinners on your 1911, okay? Well, it looks like our time is up for today. Thanks for looking in on me.